And we're live.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Committee on Legislation, Tuesday, September 8th, 2020. Councilmember Farrelletto,
Here.
Councilmember Nowakowski,
Here.
Councilmember Golombek,
Here.
Councilmember Rivera,
Present.
Councilmember Scanlon,
And we're live.
Council President Pridgen,
Here.
Councilmember Bowman,
Here.
Councilmember Wingo,
Present.
Councilmember Wyatt.
Here.
Quorum is present.
On the top.
Item number 1, local landmark 348 Austin Street.
Items open. Motion open the public hearing.
Motion to open public hearing, seconded by Council. I'm sorry, Bethany.
The public hearing needs to be set
Okay.
for a later date. I believe October 6th would be the earliest date we could do it.
Okay, so the motion is to schedule the public hearing for October 6th.
And Mr. Chair, if I may, even though we do have a different date for the public hearing, I believe we've been joined by the applicant and owner of the property, who is available to take any questions or to give a brief background if you would like to allow that.
That's okay. We can save that for the public hearing.
Motion to table.
Motion to table, seconded by Councilmember Golombek.
Item number 2, food store license 62 East Amherst.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, seconded by Councilmember Wyatt.
Item number 3, food store license 442 William.
Items open.
This item is open. Council President Pridgen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I failed to ask council staff to contact this applicant. Usually I have everyone come in, but I know that this applicant has been waiting for a while for this. So I will send it without rec and just contact them in between time.
And Mr. Chair, if I may, to the council president, we did actually try to reach out anyway, knowing that this is your typical procedure for that. So they may be joining in a little late. It's just I'm going to have to take some time to identify them. So they might meet us halfway through.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
If not, we'll follow up for the next meeting.
Motion to hold in abeyance.
Item number 4, duty to intervene memo.
Motion to table.
Mr. Chairman, your mic is on mute.
Motion to table, seconded by Councilmember Wyatt.
Item number 5, seeker negative declaration.
Items open.
Sir, it appears Mr. Wyatt was trying to signal your attention.
Okay, Councilmember Wyatt has the floor.
Mr. Wyatt, you're on mute.
I know that we have another item, number 25 at the end. I know it's about the duty to intervene, but I wanted to ask Corporation Counsel about the other legislation that we put forth on the one that I put forth regarding the Citizens Review Board, but I can wait to that last item if we're going to talk about it at the end, if that's okay, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we'll discuss that at item number 21.
Thank you.
Right now we're on item number 6. Is anyone here to speak on, I'm sorry, item number 5? Is there anyone to speak on item 5? No? Okay. Motion is to approve, seconded by Councilmember Bowman.
Item number 6, special use permit 1221 Lovejoy.
Motion to table items 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23.
Seconded by Council Member Gullumbeck.
Item 24, audit of and moratorium on 485A approvals.
Item is
Mr. Chair.
open.
This item is open. Councilmember Noakowski and Pridgen, then Council President Pridgen.
Thank you. This question is for Corporation Counsel. Karen, you know, we did pass or adopt the resolution last week. Were you able to find the legislative way of us opting out of 485A?
Thank you. This is Assistant Corporation Counsel Karen Gordon. So I did do some research into it and had discussions with members of the Corporation Counsel staff as well. And from what I understand at this moment, since 485A was a law that was passed by the City of Buffalo under Article 485A of the RPTL, in order for us to, I guess, move away from it, we would have to repeal it as the same way we would repeal any other law. So it is a local law repeal action that we'll be doing, which will be, it will have to be introduced by a member of the Common Council and approved by the Common Council body, and then ultimately sent to the mayor's office for signature. And once that is done, we would have to send it to the Secretary of State to inform them that the City of Buffalo has now removed 45A as an option from its books.
Thank you very much. So a couple of follow-up questions. The first is, can we work together maybe, you know, after the committee, I can give you a call on how we do introduce that, if that's in what, you know, form that is, you can prepare something like that.
Of course.
And the second would be, and then next year, after January 1st, when there's new revisions to the state law, you know, it's my thought that the council will then debate and be able to bring the item of opting back in, you know, to full, you know, to fruition, so that we can at least have the autonomy of opting in after evaluating the new clauses in construction of the legislation. So, and then that would just be opting. How would the form of opting back in next year look like?
Sorry, yes. So next year, after the new law has been passed, what the City of Buffalo would now have the option to do is to review it and to make a decision under the same 45A, the amended version of 45A, as to whether or not they would like to opt into the new version. And if they so decide, then that's what it would be. You would be opting into whatever new version that the state has passed after January 1st. It will be the same process. It will be brought to the Common Council for, of course, introduced by one of the members of the Common Council, brought to the complete body for a vote. Once it's approved, then it will be sent to the mayor for signature. And after that, we have to send it to the Secretary of State, just as we would do any other local law for approval. Well, send to the Secretary of State just to let them know that we have this law on our books.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Anyone else like to speak on this item? No? Council President Pridgen.
Mr. Chair, when I was waving to come in, it was really on the all of the public hearings that we have on in a couple weeks on the 22nd. And the fact that it's probably going to take about if every person who presents takes a minimum of 10 minutes, it's going to take about 2.5 hours. So I think that just needs to be noted, so that those who may be waiting on the 2 o'clock meeting that Tuesday, that they would know that 2 o'clock meeting may be delayed.
Okay, great. So we're still on item number 24. Are we tabling this?
Motion to table?
Motion to table, seconded by Council Member Bowman.
Item 25, draft of duty to intervene law.
Items open.
This item is open and Council President Pridgen has the floor.
Thank you, sir. What we have in front of us is the draft, what directs Corporation Counsel to provide to the council by the 15th, a draft of what on this is titled Duty to Intervene law. After talking to the majority of council members, and knowing that the call from the community has been to name it Carriel's Law, I just want to ask Corporation Counsel, now that this has gone forward, as it says, a draft to intervene law, what would I need to do in order to change that wording to Carriel's Law?
Assistant Corporation Counsel Karen Gordon. I believe all that would be necessary is to you can make an amendment on the floor to the resolution, to whatever wording that we would be moving forward with.
Would I have to make that at full council so that?
No, you can make the amendment now, and then of course, all items are normally approved in its totality at full council. So even though you make the amendment now, you would have to reiterate the same thing at full council for it to be finalized.
Well, thank you. And so what I'm asking now is that when you submit I'm sorry, I'm so far away from the mic with this camera. When you submit the duty to intervene law, I would like for it to be named Carriel's Law.
Okay, I will do that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And just a quick question for Corporation Counsel, because I've gotten a few email questions. In terms of the procedure of the legislation that Council President is talking about, I believe that he's asked for a draft to be presented to the council by September 15th. I'm presuming at that point, the Council President would then sponsor the legislation sometime around the 15th or shortly thereafter, after it gets reviewed. Then after it was introduced, I believe it would go to committee and then it would go back to council to vote. So likely the fastest case scenario, this would get voted on by the council is probably, what would that be, about maybe 5 to 6 weeks from now? Just so
I would say, I'm sorry for butting in, council member. I would believe anywhere around 5 weeks. Because of course I'm going to do a draft. The council may want to make amendments, say the common council, whoever the sponsor might be may want adjustments made. And given the fact that it has to go through the full procedure of sitting on the council floor for a full cycle, I don't see it happening anytime sooner than, between 4 weeks to 5 weeks.
Okay, yeah, I appreciate you. I appreciate you clarifying that and that timeline so people understand that this is something that the council president is introducing, and there's certain city laws that say how long an item has to age before it gets voted on and go to committee, because I think some people were under the impression that we were voting today on this law. So I thank you and council president for your clarification on this. Councilmember Wingo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to make sure that it is very, very clear that of this majority, I'm not sure who the majority of council members were, but I'm speaking for myself, and that I am absolutely in favor of naming this Carriel's Law, and it has nothing to do with any pressure from any external forces or anything else. I just believe that this law should be named after an individual who literally made the sacrifice to ensure that people are protected when they should report maltreatment of people who deserve the dignity and respect that every other citizen in this country deserves when they're being detained. So speaking for myself, on behalf of myself, I am in favor of naming this law Carriel's Law.
Thank you. Council President Pridgen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There was only a few people who were called who had not previously publicly stated their support. So those were the people who have previously stated their support. I assume because they have not said that they were not in support, that they still supported it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Councilmember Wyatt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I just want to ask Assistant Corporation Counsel, I know how we've gone through this process for Carriel's Law, the duty to intervene. And I know I put forth a resolution regarding a civilian review board. Do we have to go through that similar process in order to get legislation begin for those items?
Assistant Corporation Counsel Karen Gordon. Yes, usually our the process for introduction of any legislation is very much the same, with the exception for local law where we have that extra public hearing that is normally takes place in the mayor's office. But it will be the same process as it relates to the Citizens Review Board. We did do some work over the summer to do in line of some research, looking to see what cities around, I guess cities within New York and also cities throughout the US have, just to make sure that whatever we do come up with is something that cannot be easily challenged or, you know, something that is done. We have to probably change route on it because it's not properly executed or it's deemed to be contrary to law. So we did do some work on that, and whenever I guess you're ready, I can share that information with you, and we can start talking about how you want to move forward.
Okay. Can I call you after this meeting?
Yes.
Well, after Councilmember Nowakowski calls you, I will call you after him, because I definitely want to move forward on this. It's interesting that New York City, Syracuse, and all Rochester have a Citizens Review Board, but the city of Buffalo does not. Pretty interesting. So, okay, thank you.
No problem.
Majority Leader Rivera.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I've received numerous emails requesting that I state on the record what my position is on the Carriel's Law duty to intervene. And I've told them that I've remained consistent straight through, that I supported the law in the beginning. I continue to support it now. I've supported her being made whole from the very beginning, and I continue to support her being made whole right now as we speak. So please, for the record, I support the law. You don't have to call me or text me or email me any longer. Thank you very much.
Councilmember Bowman.
I too will go on the record and say that I do support Carriel's Law. Thank you.
Let's see. Councilmember Scanlon.
Question for Corporation Counsel. There's no actual action taking place right now.
Karen, I think you're on mute still.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you please repeat that question?
There's currently, like in our meeting today, there is no action taking place.
I can't hear you, Councilmember. You're really low.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you better now.
In today's meeting, in this committee meeting, there is no action taking place in regards to any legislation, right? On this item?
Right, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Council President Pridgen.
Thank you. Just for clarity for the public, there isn't an action on the law at this moment that will come before us, hopefully by the 15th. But what has occurred is I've asked for the amendment to the proposal that so that it would be known as Carriel's Law. And again, for instance, those council members that just came on in support, Councilmember Rivera had said he supported it in the past. So I assumed he supported it now, Councilmember Bowman and others. So that's the action, so that when the law, the draft policy comes to us, that it will bear the name Carriel Horn. Thanks.
Okay, Councilmember Nowakowski, then Councilmember Wyatt.
Thank you. I just want to know for the record that I will be joining my colleagues, Bowman and Rivera in support.
Mr. Chair, do we have to have a second on the amendment that the council president made for making it Curios law, or are we just going to wait till it comes to the council?
We should have a second on the amendment. Motion to amend it, whatever the amendment is, and a second.
Okay, we're making that motion by Council President Pridgen to amend it, seconded by Councilmember Wyatt. And Councilmember Scanlon has the floor.
I'd like to be recorded in the negative on the amendment.
With Councilmember Scanlon recorded in the negative. And
Mr. Chair, I'm not sure, is Councilmember Wyatt a part of your committee? Just want to make sure it goes through.
Okay, and then no, he is not, so we will.
There is, or.
So the motion to amend it, seconded by Majority Leader Rivera, Councilmember Scanlon in the negative.
Thank you, Council President.
I don't want this to go left. I want it to be right.
Okay, next item.
Sir, I believe you're on mute.
Table item 55.
Motion to remove from the table item number 55, seconded by Councilmember Gullumbeck.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close public hearing, seconded by Councilmember Gullumbeck.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, seconded by Councilmember Scanlon.
Can we revisit item number 3? I believe it is.
Motion to revisit item number 3, seconded by Council President Pridgen.
Now, we were supposed to go back to this item. There might be somebody to speak on it. If not, we're going to send it without recommendation.
Okay, so the motion is to send without rec, seconded by Council President Pridgen.
If nothing else, motion to adjourn.
Seconded by Councilmember Scanlon.